A decade after its inaugural event in 2013, this annual Super Tournament returns to Stavanger with the promise of decisive chess games every round. Players earn 3 points for a win in Classical, 1.5 for a draw and Armageddon win, 1 point for a draw and Armageddon loss, and 0 points for a loss in the Classical portion. We had 5 matchups today. The first one was between Caruana and Carlsen. It was Carlsen's first Classical game since Tata Steel Chess 2023 and his first loss. Carlsen opted for a fight on move 1 with e4-e6, the French defense. In the middle game, Carlsen's pieces were concentrated on the queen side, but stiffingly so. Caruana pressed an advantage by taking aim at a potentially trapped rook on c7 and opening the game. Despite the advantage on the board, Caruana's clock dwindled, and by move 32, he had under 10 minutes with no increment for another 8 moves. It was a very tough game, especially with the time control of 120 minutes for the entire game with a 10-second increment per move starting on move 1. He would say after the game, he was very happy with his tactical shot knight to d7, and Carlsen resigned a few moves later. With this win, Caruana earned 3 points for a win in the Classical portion and leapfrogs Nepo as number 4 on the world rating list. Next up, we have Firouzja vs Gukesh. At just the age of 17, Gukesh is the Indian number 2 behind GM Viswanathan Anand and world number 15 after defeating the French-Iranian prodigy on Tuesday. The most natural move is not always the correct one in chess. Firouzja missed many opportunities by choosing the most natural-looking move, and soon Black's initiative rolled in like a storm cloud, and Gukesh managed to pick up 3 points with a win in the Classical portion. Then we have the game between Shakhriyar Mamedyarov and Aryan Tari. These players have played a handful of games online, but these players met for the first time in a Classical game at the Norway Chess Tournament. Although Mamedyarov was worse out of the opening, he managed to pull the emergency brakes and salvage a draw. The Azerbaijani Grandmaster returned to the Armageddon game ready for a fight. His violent intentions were clear when he played g4, sacrificing a pawn for the attack. He put it in simple terms after the game. You have only one way to play for a win. Of course, it was easy to play just sacrifice everything. The players maneuvered in a complicated opposite side castling position for a while, but the decisive mistake came with queen to a2 check. A move later, it became clear that Tari would lose his queen, and Mamedyarov had no issues winning with the extra queen after that. Then we have the game between Abdusattorov Nodirbek versus Anish Giri. The Classical game was drawn and it went to the Armageddon where Anish introduced a novelty on move 11 with the black pieces by sacrificing the pawn. The Uzbek prodigy had just one chance at a win in this game and had to find the brilliant move c5. After this miss, the game was equal for a long time. 2 knight retreats on move 30 and 31, and he was already worse. He lost the game 4 moves later to a flashy game-finishing tactic. And last but not the least, we had Wesley vs Hikaru Nakamura. The game was the Berlin defense, perhaps the most solid opening in chess. Hikaru Nakamura was the first to invent with the novelty on move 10 with knight to e8. This was the most evenly matched Classical game, and the players steered the ship confidently to the dark waters of Armageddon. In the Armageddon, Wesley would have the white pieces and 10 minutes against Nakamura's 7 minutes. A 1-second increment is only added after move 40. Nakamura seemed to be cruising to at least equality. On move 20, he was already on the verge of having an advantage. In the endgame, Wesley had the imbalance of a knight against Nakamura's 3 pawns, but after a cunning move by white, Nakamura blundered a pawn. Although the engine claims he could have defended close to the very end, in a practical game it was too much. He resigned with 4 seconds on the clock, and with this, Wesley picked up 1.5 points. So with these results, this is how the players stand after round 1. Fabiano Caruana and Gukesh D have 3 points, both are on first and second place respectively. Anish Giri, Wesley and Shakhriyar Mamedyarov have 1.5 points for winning in the Armageddon match. Hikaru Nakamura, Nodirbek and Aryan Tari have 1 point for drawing the Classical match. And Magnus, Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja, the world number 1 and world number 2, are currently at the bottom of the table. This is a 10-player single round robin, so 9 rounds in this tournament. I'll keep you updated for each and every round, so subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.